what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away.
In a row.
But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so
Auburn.
Okay, just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby I have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but
Breaking news. Dylan Raiola, the very talented sophomore quarterback of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, will miss the rest of the season after suffering an injury against the USC Trojans. Yesterday, Saturday's game, 21-17 victory by the USC Trojans. But no, the USC Trojans did not cover. They did not cover because Greg the Cooler picked USC to cover. Dylan Raiola. It was on a sack, fumble, very bad news. And again, I said it last year. One of the great things that happened in Nebraska football last year was Dylan Raiola was able to play the whole season as a true freshman. He did not really get injured. He played the whole season. He got all those reps. But this year, in his sophomore year, he got sacked one too many times. And again, it was one of those plays where Dylan Raiola hung on to the ball too long. But this is very bad news. I like to watch the kid play. Although I'm starting to agree with Don Scruggs a little bit, the Georgia Bulldog PATC family member. Dylan Raiola, until he starts to grip it and rip it and throw it downfield a few times a game, he might be a little bit overrated. But he's a very talented young quarterback. Minor setback for a major comeback for Dylan Raiola next year for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Welcome everybody into the studio. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. If you want to support this channel through a donation, hit that $sign. Please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. This is Aftermath Week 10. Aftermath Week 10. Hugh Freeze fired. Whoops. Well, I did not have the right graphics. My apologies. Hugh Freeze fired as the head coach of the Auburn Tigers. So where does Edward, the Auburn Tiger PATC family member, where does he want the Auburn Tigers to look at? We here at Peek Around the Corner, we have made an executive decision. In the Auburn 1.0 hot board, we are going to put Tulane's head coach John Sumrall as number one. Number one, and right now we do not have a number two. So just to let you know what we're thinking about the Auburn job, but I think it's going to be a very interesting coaching search. Hugh Freeze out. I think his Southeastern Conference record was 6-16. No, that can't be right. I don't know what his record was. 15-18 overall. Did not get the job done. And again, as we look at our PATC hot seat watch heading into week 10, Hugh Freeze was number two. Now, Mark Stoops got to win. Baylor, Jonathan Smith almost got to win against Minnesota. Hugh Freeze, number two, and he gets fired. So that continues the streak. There has not been a firing during this coaching carousel in which the name was not up on our hot seat, on our list, heading into the week that they got fired. Pretty cool. But so we are not Greg the Cooler with our hot seat watch. And again, people are talking a lot about Julian Sayin. A lot of discussions that Julian Sayin should be at the top of the Heisman watch. We here at PATC, we have Julian Sayin at the top for the last 3 weeks. Mr. Sayin has been unbelievable. Besides all the other talent that the Buckeyes have, they just might have the best quarterback in the nation. Oh, by the way, He's going to be playing for a couple more years at Columbus. My goodness. And Fernando Mendoza, he keeps rolling along. I'm probably, most likely, we're going to be doing a do-si-do with Mendoza and Simpson. I guess I'm going to have to put Mendoza number 2, but I think those are the top 3. San, Simpson, and Mendoza. And I think there's a gap. And we have said that for the last 3 weeks. I think we are seeing a gap in the Heisman watch list going forward. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I very much appreciate it. Let's get to some very generous super chats. We've got a lot to cover. Holy smokes. All right, first of all, we're going to get, thank you, Ryan Willie. Thank you, Kenneth Maynor. I'm going to get to you right now. But first of all, I just want to get through this real quick. Greg the Cooler for 3 weeks in a row. We're going to get this behind us. Okay? I got the Buckeyes. You guys got the Buckeyes. We both got this correct. I had West Virginia. I got that one correct. They beat Houston. And you all had Houston. So I got it right. You guys got it wrong. We both had Vanderbilt. We both got this wrong. Although the line closed at plus 3.5, Vandy. We had them at plus 2.5. So we both got this wrong. Miami, SMU. I took Miami. I got it wrong. SMU, you guys took the Mustangs. You got it right. We both took the Red Raiders. We both got it correct. We both took Georgia. We both got it wrong. We both took Virginia with a pick 6 at the end of the game. We both got this one correct. USC, Nebraska. We both got it wrong. And boy, did I get this one wrong. Nebraska, again, lost a close game. But this was a close game. I mean, Nebraska lost Dylan Raiola when they were up 14-6. And now, again, the breaking news that he's out for the rest of the year. Their backup quarterback wasn't really ready to take shots downfield. USC's running game. I got this wrong. I thought USC was gonna cover this. But anyways, we both got this one wrong. We both got Wake Forest wrong. The Seminoles crushed the Demon Deacons. Holy smokes. Oklahoma, I got it right. You guys got Tennessee. You got it wrong. We're going to talk about Tennessee here. I put up some stats on my X account. I'm just going to read. I'm going to read you by memory. I might be a number off here, but I believe it's like 309 passing attempts against Tennessee's defense. 207 completions, 67% completion. The opposing quarterbacks against Tennessee's secondary. It's just not good enough. The Volunteers secondary is not good enough to get that team in the playoffs. And if they do go to the playoffs, if somehow they squeeze in at the end, they're probably going to get their doors blown off like they did last year. Cincinnati, Houston. I took Cincy. You all took Cincy. We both got it wrong. You guys got the last 4 games wrong. I went 5-6. You all went 4-7. My record against the spread, my record against the spread for the year is 67-65, which is 2 games above 500. Which, by the way, you lose money. 67-65. If you counted the juice, I am below the water level. 67 and 65. You all are 62 and 70. I got a 5-game lead on you. We are both losers once again. Once again, I am the re-elected mayor of Loserville City. Now we got that behind us. We're not going to talk about that anymore. We're not going to talk about the Week 10 results against the spread. Week 11, I guarantee you, Greg the Gold is coming back into the studio. By hook or by crook. If I have to cheat. Look, I put a little bit, allegedly, the fat guy from Minnesota put a little bit of cash. Put a little bit of cash into a vanilla envelope. And I sent it off to Huntington Bank Stadium. Allegedly, the referee got it right before kickoff. And that gave the Gophers a victory over the Spartans. Because I think the Spartans got screwed. I think they got screwed by the referee. But again, that Manila, allegedly, I'm going to have to do that in all the games that I make my picks this week to assure victory. Ryan Willie, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's get into it, guys. Week 10 Aftermath Show. Holy smokes. That wasn't what I wanted. Hold on here. Things have gone pear-shaped in the studio. Just like my picks. Wonder if he'll transfer to Wisconsin. There's a family connection there. I don't know who you're talking about. Ryan Willie. Ryan Willie, who are we talking about in your super chat? Let me know. Just put it in the chat. You don't have to give me another super chat. I'll be looking for it. Thank you for the $5 holler. Are you talking about Dylan Raiola? I don't know I don't think he's going to be transferring to Wisconsin. Let me know who you're talking about, Ryan Willie. Very much appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate your generosity. We've gotten another super chat. Thank you for starting us off, Ryan Willie. I appreciate it. Kenneth Maynard. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Eastern Carolina. East Carolina rose 45-14 win over Temple to stay in a 5-way tie for first in the American. ECU had 358 yards rushing. Losses in North Carolina State, BYU, not bad. Memphis at ECU, November 15th is massive. ECU has won the last two over Memphis. Thank you for the $10 holler. Thank you for the generosity, Kenneth Maynard. Let's take a look at the standings. And we are going to be taking a look at everybody's standings going into week 11 here. The American, look at that. East Carolina 3-1, South Florida Bulls 3-1, Tulane 3-1, North Texas 4-1, Memphis 4-1, Navy Midshipmen 5-1. Holy smokes! 6, a tie in the loss column among the top 6 schools in the American. Wow! And by the way. We got to start talking about this now. I don't want to get Kenneth Maynard upset with me because he just gave me a very generous super chat. But we're going to have to talk about it. You know who I'm talking about? You guys know what team that I'm talking about when it comes to a potential G6 college football playoff invite? We're talking about the San Diego State Aztecs. They have a Stony Brook win, 42-0, and then they do have a not a very good loss to Washington State, 36-13. They defeated California 34-0. That's a pretty good win. Northern Illinois 6-3. Colorado State 45-24. Nevada 44-10. Fresno State 23-0. Wyoming 24-7. They've got Hawaii. They've got a home game against Boise State. And then they've got a home game against San Jose State and a road game at New Mexico. If, and it's a big if, but if San Diego State wins all of those games, they're going to be 11-1. And if they go on and win the Mountain West Conference Championship, they might be nipping at the heels. They might be nipping at the heels of the American Conference champion. And then you also have to look again at another particular team. You've got to look at the James Madison Dukes, right? You got to look at the James Madison Dukes in the Sun Belt. 7-1 overall, 5-0 in conference play. Their only loss was to Louisville by 14 points, and that is a pretty good loss. On the road to Louisville, losing by 14 points. Liberty, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, Louisiana, Old Dominion, Texas State. They've got App State. They got Washington State. They got Coastal. So James Madison can be put in a spot where if they beat Washington State, that is going to look very good compared to San Diego State's resume. Just in case the rest of the American, the conference race, cannibalizes itself, right? Just in case the American comes out of here with everybody having 2 or more losses. Again, taking a look at the American. So these 6 teams, and then you got to throw in San Diego State and James Madison as your potential G5 representative into the playoffs. Anyways, thank you so much. Thank you, Kenneth Maynard. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much, Kenneth Maynard. ECU may spoil it for the American by beating Memphis. Okay. Let's go to the roll call. Let's get to the roll call. We've got so much to talk about today. Kay Struthers is in the house. Steele Austin is here. We are going to open up the phone lines as soon as I possibly can. But we have got a lot to cover. Steele Austin is in the house. The Walking Geek. Ryan Brooks. The coaching carousel keeps going. Go Tigers. Charlie Atwood. Hey, more competitive than most teams against the Buckeyes. Look, and I believe Penn State has a game against Nebraska later in a couple of weeks, correct? And they're not going to be without Dylan Raiola. You guys don't have your QB1. They don't have their QB1. Could be a victory for Penn State Nittany Lions. Things are going to be looking up, Charlie, when you get your new head coach, when you get your new direction, when you get the guy at the helm, and then everybody can rush to support the guy. Better days are coming, Charlie Atwood. Better days are coming. Sean is in the house. Bob Swanger is here. Stormy Cyclone is here. Jeff Sims runs all over on the Cyclones. All over. Anthony Carlson. I say, Greg, we are the ugly team yesterday. Again. I don't know how to say this. Anthony Carlson and I were talking to each other during the game. And we're talking about the Michigan State-Minnesota game, which 99% of you did not watch 1 second of. And I don't blame you. Okay? Michigan State overall had the better of the play. Now, the Gophers did sack Michigan State a lot. I mean, I think Minnesota is third in the nation in sacks. But, you know, Michigan State outgained Minnesota. Michigan State dominated the second half. There was in overtime, Michigan State threw the ball in the end zone, and they called a defensive penalty, a DPI, on Minnesota. So it should have been first down, 4 or 5 yard line, Michigan State, first and goal. It was a third down call. And the referees got together and they reversed the call on the Gophers' defensive pass interference call. They reversed their own call. Unbelievable. And it looked like the Gopher guy held a little bit. It was very ticky-tack, but still to reverse the call. And then Michigan State kicked the extra point. And then Minnesota scored on a naked bootleg with the slowest quarterback in the country. I love the guy. He's really good. But the slowest quarterback in the country, lumbering down, and it doesn't look like he made it in. His foot went out of bounds, and I think the football was like that far from the goal line. It would have been 4th and goal. And who knows what would have happened. But they upheld the call. And again, allegedly, my cash in that manila envelope made it to the referee's locker room right before kickoff. And that was the difference in the victory. The question I have for Michigan State is simple. Does Jonathan Smith get a third year and Aiden Childs was benched? Does Aiden Childs transfer? Remember, Aiden Childs transferred from Oregon State to follow Jonathan Smith to East Lansing. That hasn't quite worked. The first time that I got a little worried about Aiden Childs, and maybe I should have been worried earlier, I don't know, but that game against Nebraska, I know there was a lot of wind. But man, he was brutal in that game. And anyways, so there are some questions at East Lansing. Anyway, okay, so let's go back to our roll call. Anthony Carlson, thanks for coming on in. Dave B, Superman flies again next weekend. Bear Bachmeyer. Kayla Ramirez is in the house. Tumasta is here. Freeze gets a frozen. Gary Partridge is here. Another slow news day in college football. Dylan Raiola is out for the season. Yep, we had the breaking news. Joaquin Morales taking care of Mama. Yes, we are. We are taking care of Mama. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Sean, the coaching carousel is going to be wild this season. The January portal is going to be complete bonkers. With all these coaching changes, it's going to be crazy. I'll just give you an example. What about Coleman, the wide receiver at Auburn? I mean, he's going to be getting offers of a couple million. It is going to be crazy. The portal season is going to be unhinged. We are going to be coming on here live probably once, twice a day just to cover the portal, and we're going to be talking about the playoffs during that time. Dante's Infernal Purgatory is in the house. Kenneth Stromness. Al Woody, thanks for coming on in. I don't know about the Maryland coach. I don't know yet. I haven't heard. Midwest Boxing is in the house. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Fickle still on the hot seat board. We may move him down a bit. Or we may move him off the list. We may do that. We're going to have to consult on it. We're going to have to get into our office, get some information. We'll figure that out. Stormy Cyclone, Christopher Hooters in the house. Edward the Auburn Tiger is ready to go. Edward the Auburn Tiger is ready for new leadership at Auburn. John Summerall. He is the number one guy on our hot board 1.0 Auburn Tiger War Eagle hot board list. Edward the Auburn Tiger. Who is your number one? How do you have a show when the Vikings are winning? I have a show when they're winning. I have a show when they're losing. I have a show when they're tied. This is a national college football YouTube channel. This is not the Minnesota Vikings or the NFL channel. I rarely talk about the NFL. There's a lot of Vikings channels out there. There's a lot of Gopher, not really a lot of Gopher channels, but this is a national college football channel. I'm surprised the Vikings are winning. Vikings are up 10 on the Lions. Wow. Tennessee has several hurt players. They sure do. Yeah. They've been missing their All-American corner the whole season. But again, everybody's missing guys right now, and Tennessee is getting bludgeoned. That defense is not good enough. It just isn't. Gunnar Stockton. PATC really got it right. Gunnar Stockton knelt down at the line. No, that has to be part of the evaluation. Don Scruggs, that has to be part of the evaluation. And we did not evaluate it correctly. Stormy Cyclone, at least you're snorkeling, Greg. We are scuba diving. I'm below the water level. You guys are a little bit below me. No question about it. Bazoo is in the house. I've been wanting this 3 weeks ago. Probably talking about Hugh Freeze. Ryan Willie, yes. Dylan Raiola, I don't think he's going to Wisconsin. I think Dylan Raiola will probably stay at Nebraska. Now, I think there are some hard decisions. Nebraska Steve. Nebraska has given up 26 sacks this season. I'm so disappointed with their O-line failure to protect Dylan Raiola from taking many hard hits. I would not blame Dylan Raiola if he enters the transfer portal. How would Dylan Raiola feel if Matt Rule fired the offensive line coach, who is Dylan Raiola's uncle? Because it's the O-line where Nebraska they're going to have to solve that issue. It's a combination of three or four things. One, the offensive line is not good. And it hasn't been good for a while at Lincoln. Number two, Dylan Raiola does hang on to the ball too long. I think we can all agree with that. Number three, Nebraska, it's a combination of Dylan Raiola not wanting to pull the trigger, not wanting to grip it and rip it, in my opinion, not having confidence in the O-line, but also Dana Holgerson and Matt Rule not having enough confidence in Dylan Raiola and that offensive line to take some bloody shots downfield. Nebraska doesn't, when you're playing Nebraska, when you are the opponent, you keep creeping up at the line of scrimmage. You keep bringing up your safeties. Emmett Johnson has had an incredible season. especially when the opponents don't think you're ever going to take a shot downfield. So he's running against extra numbers in the box. Nebraska is doing what they did with Scott Frost. Scott Frost, that was the design of his offense, where he never threatened anybody downfield. But this offense is so cautious because they don't want Dylan Raiola to get sacked 9 times, to get sacked 7 times, to get sacked 5 times. So next year, Nebraska's going to have to solve that. The Cornhuskers, with all that money they invest in that program, they got to at least get to be an average offensive line. Average offensive line. If you become an average offensive line, you're going to be able to achieve more at Nebraska football. The Big Lubbock is here. The Big Lubbock, John Grove, Texas Tech is a juggernaut. The Red Raiders are a threat to win it all. They just got to keep their quarterback healthy. They got to keep Baron Morton. They got to keep him healthy. That is like, right? Lee Hunter, Bailey, Rodriguez. That defense is nasty, great. Nasty, great. You got the running back. Go Black 45's in the house. Thanks for coming on in. Skaven, yes. Hello, Mad Gopher. Thank you, Mr. Cornhusker. Appreciate coming on in. But AMAC is in the house. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate it. Bobby Hansen. He's too good a quarterback to have his talent wasted at Nebraska. John Grove. Got to keep that quarterback healthy. Absolutely. John Teal. Dylan should take a look at Indiana. I don't think Mendoza is... I think Mendoza's coming back next year. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. Jay Chapman's in the house. Thanks for coming on in. Dorian might have saved his job. They beat up the Georgia Tech Rambling Wreck. Drake Lindsay should walk on to Georgia. He ain't going to walk on nowhere, Don Scruggs. He ain't going to walk on nowhere. All right, guys. Thanks for all coming on in. I appreciate it. Christopher Hooter, thank you for the super chat. Hold up 1 second. I apologize, Christopher Hooter. I got to clean something up real quick. I apologize. Give me a moment, everybody. We got a very kind super chat, but I just got to take a moment. Given the state of SEC official reviews, if they aren't going to correct the calls, then let's just ditch it, quit wasting time, and speed the game along. I'm not sure what call you're referring to, Christopher Hooter. But let me know later on with a comment. I don't know. Now, the Southeastern Conference doesn't have... the Florida. Okay. They don't have the... they don't have it where we can listen into their conversations under review, right? That is only the ACC thus far. Correct? Christopher Hooter's naming off all the travesty that's been going on this year. Auburn, Oklahoma, LSU, Clemson. I could go on and on. Thank you for the $5 holler, Christopher Hooter. I very much appreciate it. Very much appreciate it. Jacobra Cat, my goodness, we got a super chat from Jacobra Cat. Mr. Hawkeye, for the bye week, Jacoba Cat, watch nature video of a hawk eating a duck. Horrible. Horrible. Snatched from its pond. Then for an hour, blood-curdling quacks filled the forest. Wow. My goodness. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That is going to be a big game next week. Big game, Iowa, Oregon. Now, Hawkeye. I'm not, I never find myself rooting for the Hawkeyes. I really don't find myself rooting for that Hawkeye to swoop down and snatch any prey. However, I'm going to make an exception on this week. Because Iowa plays Oregon this Saturday. I believe it's in Iowa City, correct? Yeah. This Saturday. And I think it's a 3:30 Eastern game. CBS Sports. But then, 6 days later, the Minnesota Golden Gophers, coming off a bye week, 13 days since the Michigan State, go and plays Oregon at Oregon. While Oregon has to turn around 6 days after the game at Iowa City. So what I'm trying to say is this. You take the Hawkeyes offensive line and you pound them and you hit them. You hit them and you pound them for 60 minutes. Wear them down. Wear them down. Wear them down. So the Gophers can keep within 3 touchdowns against Oregon on that Friday night national television. All right, Hawkeyes, do what you can to beat down on the Ducks so the Gophers can stay within 3 touchdowns on national TV 6 days later after the game. That is your mission, Hawkeyes. That is your mission. Okay. We have spent Kenneth Maynard, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Duke, Kenneth Maynard. Duke winning the ACC isn't unrealistic at all. At UConn, Virginia, at North Carolina, Wake Forest is very winnable. First win for Duke in Death Valley since 1980. Duke 46, Clemson 45. There are people that agree with you, Kenneth Maynard. In fact, Bud Elliott came out on CBS Sports with his projections of what the playoffs are going to look like. Not what they're going to look like this Tuesday when they get released Tuesday, but what the playoffs are going to ultimately look like. The playoffs, he's got Duke Blue Devils as an 11th seed winning the ACC championship game. Because of what you are saying right here in your comment, that the Duke Blue Devils have a very good chance to get to the ACC championship game. We are going to look at the ACC standings a little bit later on. But yes, it is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy what's going on in the ACC, and the Duke Blue Devils have a real good shot at this. Real good shot. Kenneth, thank you, Kenneth Maynard. Appreciate the $5 holler. Thank you so very much. Okay, so we've gone through the our picks. They went pear-shaped. Let's go through the big news. Hugh Freeze gets fired. My goodness. Auburn, the Auburn Tiger. Hugh Freeze is out at Auburn. Top candidates, transfers, and recruits. Max Oldham, Eli Liederman, Adam Rittenberg. The college coaching agent recently put its best when discussing Auburn, a program that won the national title in 2010, played for another 3 years later, but has fluctuated sharply in performance and endured more than its share of dysfunction. There is something about that place that has an incredible draw, because you know what it can be, the agent said. There is always a window where you can justify taking Auburn. For Hugh Freeze, the Auburn job was a no-brainer. A chance to return to the Southeastern Conference, flex his recruiting prowess, and ideally compete for the college football playoff spots. While the Freeze hire was controversial, it made sense from a football and fit standpoint. Freeze had elevated Ole Miss in performance and recruiting, twice beat Nick Saban's Alabama teams at a time when practically no one else did, but he could not find the magic. The 5 top candidates for the job. I agree with ESPN. We've got John Sumrall as the one and only candidate right now on the hot board, Auburn Hot Board 1.0. Tulane coach John Sumrall. Arguably the hottest name outside of the Power Four. He was born in the state of Alabama. He's already won in the state as a head coach in the state of Alabama at Troy, going 23-4 with consecutive Sun Belt championships. He's 15-7 at Tulane. He played SEC football at Kentucky, coached in the league at both Kentucky and Ole Miss. He would bring toughness, intensity, combined with an aggressive approach and personnel to the Auburn Tiger. What about Georgia Tech coach Brent Key? There's a lot to like about Key, especially for an Auburn program seeking a breakthrough in the SEC. Brent Key now, but he's coaching at his alma mater at Georgia Tech. Does he really want to leave right now? Does he really want to leave Georgia Tech? I am going to predict that he's not going to leave Georgia Tech. I could end up being wrong. I could end up being dead wrong. But I think he wants to see this through at Georgia Tech. See what they can do this year. See what they can do next year after having all this great exposure for recruiting and development in the portal. Missouri coach Eli Drinkwitz. Would Eli Drinkwitz leave Missouri to go to Auburn? I don't know. I don't know. Drinkwitz should be on the radar for Florida. Yep. But Auburn has potential too, especially for a dynamic offensive-minded coach who has proven himself in the Southeastern Conference. There's no question about it. Eli Drinkwitz has proven himself in the Southeastern Conference. Charlie Lee, Vanderbilt. Absolutely. What he's doing at Vanderbilt is historic. Absolutely. What about Charlie Lee at Auburn? What do you guys think? It says here that Lee isn't looking to run away from Vanderbilt, but likely understands that it will be easier to consistently contend elsewhere, and Auburn offer those resources. And again, Glenn Schumann, he's always on the coaching carousel, the defensive coordinator of the Georgia Bulldogs. We talked about him 2 years ago. We talked about him last year. he never quite gets the job. He never gets that head coaching job that he's looking for. He is on the list. And of course, I'm just going to go through one name here. 5 important players to retain for Auburn when they go through this coaching change. Cam Coleman. Cam Coleman. If Coleman decides to enter the portal, he could be one of those rare non-quarterbacks earning more than $2 million next season. Cam Coleman. Auburn is going to have to bring up the Brink truck if they want to keep Cam Coleman. The number 5 overall recruit in the 2024 ESPN 300. So there is the Auburn Tigers, the news. Hugh Freeze has been fired. Hugh Freeze has been fired. And now we think John Summerall is the number 1 guy on the hot board. Thank you, Expedition Greg. Thank you so much, Mr. Buckeye. I appreciate it. A gifted membership. Vibe Circuit. Vibe Circuit received a gift membership. Vibe Circuit, when you get an opportunity, please say thank you to Expedition Greg for his incredible generosity. And both of you are knighted, officially knighted, Cloak and Dagger. Thank you so much for your generosity, Expedition Greg. Thank you so very much. Vibe Circuit, you can go to our library of episodes and watch them all, including the membership-only episodes, Early Peak, Cloak, and Dagger. And that, by the way, those Early Peak, Cloak, and Dagger membership-only episodes, they're going to be coming out like crazy during the off-season. So buckle up, brace for impact, become a member of our program. Go down to the description box below the video. There's a link provided. Hit the link, become a member. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Expedition Greg. Thank you very much. Rumor has it that it's Maryland's Mike Loxley seat is heating up to the point where there are discussions about the potential buyout. Well, again, we did have him on the hot seat list. We did have him there, but we took him off. So we might miss with that one. We had him last week. We took him off this week. My prediction is that Maryland's new head coach, I said this last week, Maryland Terrapins' new head coach for the 2026 season, Brian Kelly. I say that knowing that the job is not open yet. But that's just my prediction. I'm going with it. I'm sticking with it. I am not going to leave it. We talked about the Dylan Raiola injury. Absolutely. Penn State's not going to go after Brian Kelly, I don't believe. Jeff Brom? Possibly. Possibly. At this rate, there will be 40 job openings at Christmas. Could be. Very well could be. Now, let's take a look. We are going to get to your phone calls. Let's take a look at the top 25, AP top 25 that just came out. The AP, now we track this every week, right? But we're going to stop tracking. This is the last week that we are going to follow the AP top 25. This Tuesday night, we're going to be live, and we're going to cover it live in real time, the release of the first rankings of the playoff selection committee. And that rankings is what we're going to be following each and every week going towards to the end of the week to the college football playoffs. So, having said that, AP top 25 going into week 11. Arizona State, 4 votes. LSU, 4. Illinois, Houston, SMU. South Florida, North Texas, there's San Diego State. They're lurching. San Diego State, Pittsburgh, James Madison, They're also lurching. They're looking. They're about to join the party, the American party, to try to be the G5 representative into the playoffs. And Iowa is the 26th ranked team in the nation, 71 votes. Cincinnati stays just ahead of the Iowa Hawkeyes. 25. They dropped 8 spots. They got crushed by Utah. Washington finally gets into the top 25. At number 24, the Washington Huskies. Number 23, Tennessee. I just don't think Tennessee is a... You guys know how I feel about Tennessee. I don't see them as a playoff team. I did not see them as a playoff team. They're just not going to be able to get there. Number 22, Memphis. Again, Memphis has a bad loss. They are the G5 team, ranked 22. Because of their bad loss against UAB, boy, if they haven't, I think they have to run the table. I think they're going to have to run the table to make it. If they don't run the table, if they don't win all the rest of their games, including the American Conference Championship game, I think a James Madison, a San Diego State, or whoever wins out of the American, obviously whoever wins out of the American are going to go past Memphis. Memphis, if they are 2-loss American champion, if they lose a regular season game and then win the American, and James Madison wins out or San Diego State wins out, it's going to be close. It's going to be razor close. Especially when you compare James Madison loss to Memphis loss. Memphis will have the better wins. No question about it. Number 21 in the rankings, Michigan. Number 20, USC. Number 19, Missouri Tigers. Number 18, the Miami Hurricanes, where we're going to talk about them in a little bit here when we go through the games that happen this weekend. Miami loses to SMU. That was our watch party game this Saturday. Thank you for all who joined us and watched it with us. Miami Hurricanes, there's no question that their play has slipped. And I'm highly doubtful that they're going to be able to make it into the playoffs. They're not eliminated. No way. But they're close to getting eliminated. Number 17, Utah. Very impressive victory against Cincinnati. Number 16, Georgia Tech. They took a big hit. Big hit. That defense, again, the defense may not be good enough to get the rambling wreck of Georgia Tech into the playoffs. It may not be good enough to win the ACC championship game. They're close. Georgia Tech is close. But the defense probably isn't quite good enough. Number 15, Vanderbilt. Now, they only lost by 3, but they were outclassed for most of the game against the Longhorns. That comeback at the end probably helped the Commodores to keep somewhat of their rankings. They did drop 6 spots. Number 14, the Louisville Cardinals. They come back and beat the Hokies. Louisville Cardinals, they are a threat to win the ACC championship along with a bunch of other teams we're going to talk about. Texas goes up 7 spots. My goodness. The Longhorns, favored by 2.5 points at home. They win by 3, and they go up 7. The Longhorns at number 13, the Virginia Cavaliers. Pick 6 at the end of the game. They beat the Golden Bears on the road. Virginia goes westward. They defeat California 31-21. They are at number 12, still undefeated in the ACC. Oklahoma, they defeat Tennessee. They move up 7 spots. They're at 11. Notre Dame, They're at number 10. Texas Tech Red Raiders at number 9. The only thing that can stop the Red Raiders is the health of the quarterback, in my opinion. The only thing that can hold the Red Raiders back from winning the Big 12 championship is the health of the quarterback, because BYU is good enough. With their Superman, they're good enough to win the Big 12. 8-0, the BYU Cougars, number 8 in the nation. Texas Tech, BYU, and the line, the early line is the Red Raiders are favored by 9.5 points. Holy smokes. 9.5, that's too many points. That's the Superman ain't, the BYU's not going to lose by 9.5 points. Number 7, Ole Miss, and they deserve it. In fact, I would have Ole Miss ahead of Oregon. Now, Oregon, their last 4 opponents have a record of 24 wins and 8 losses. So Oregon is going to have time to prove it. They're going to have time to prove it. If they run the table, they go in the Big Ten championship game, win or lose, they're going to be in the playoffs. But right now, I would currently have the Rebels ahead of the Ducks. Georgia at number 5. Bama at number 4. The Aggies. And I'm glad that Texas A&M is a little bit ahead of Alabama. Texas A&M at number 3. Indiana Hoosiers at number 2 with another big blowout victory. And the Buckeyes at number 1. Again, Ole Miss, they look relentless against the South Carolina Gamecocks. Even when things were not going right, Ole Miss is relentless. Indiana Hoosiers are unmovable. You can't move them out of the way. They're going to beat you up. They're going to beat you. They're going to beat you. And the Buckeyes might just be unbeatable. And that is why the title screen today, this live show, the aftermath of Week 10, the unbeatable Buckeyes, the relentless Rebels, the unmovable Hoosiers. Wow. I tell you what, I'm looking forward to this Tuesday night college football playoff selection. I think tomorrow I'm going to put down what I think the committee is going to do. I'm going to make a prediction on what the committee is going to show us this Tuesday night. I've seen a few other people put down their predictions. I have read Heather Dinich's predictions. God bless her. I don't think those are going to be close to being accurate. But who knows? I'm going to put out my own projections and we'll see if I get it close to being right. We'll see. But Tuesday night, this Tuesday night, we are going to be doing a live show covering that. And I think it's going to be really interesting. Really interesting. Beware of the gold. Absolutely. Greg, you had Franklin on the hot seat prior to the season starting. I essentially said your cheese slipped off. L for me, W for you, although I disagree with the decision. I did have Franklin on there. I took him off, but I put him back on before he got fired. Obviously. When they lost to UCLA, I put him on there. And, you know, if Mike Locksley actually gets fired this week, that'll be the first firing of a Power 4 conference team that I did not have on the list before he got fired. I had him on the list 2 weeks ago, but I took him off. Okay. Let's take a look at the games. I do want to get to your phone calls. I know a lot of people got a lot of frustration they got to get out. It was a brutal week for some, a celebration for others. So let's get to it. You know what? I don't want to do it that way. I do not want to do it that way. Hold on, everybody. My bad. Hold on. We're going to start with the ACC. We're going to go through the games, and then we're going to look at the standings. The ACC, what a conference race we are witnessing. North Carolina State, 48. Georgia Tech, who's 5-0 in the ACC, goes down. The Georgia Tech Rambling Wreck goes down 48-46. My goodness. Again, Georgia Tech's defense, not good enough. SMU 26, Miami 20. Let me take a minute on this game. We did a watch party on this game yesterday. Miami, the way they lost it was indicative of the team, of what's going on. It was a 4th and 7, 4th and 9, something like that, with 1:20 to go in the game. SMU is down 20-17, fourth quarter. It's 4th and 7. Brennan Jennings goes back to pass for SMU. Mario Cristobal called a timeout. One of the players of Miami did not hear the whistle was blowing, ran into the quarterback. The flag was thrown. SMU gets a first down. They go kick the field goal, 20-20. We're going in overtime. But that's not all. It's 20-20. Miami's got the football. It's 3rd and 6. It's an overtime. Miami starts with it. 3rd and 6. Carson Beck once again targets Malachi Toney, the great Malachi Toney. We call him the Spider-Man of the 2025 season. Bear Bachmeier is Superman. Toney is Spider-Man. But again, Carson Beck goes after him. He was covered like a blanket. Interception. SMU has the ball. Now all they got to do is kick a field goal, but they ran, put it in the end zone. SMU 26, Miami 20. Miami's 2-2 in the ACC. They are on the outside looking in. Once again, and we said a couple weeks ago, it's slipping away. They're not getting better. They're not getting better as the season goes on under Mario Cristobal. And I'm not saying that Cristobal's doing all these wrong things. There's so many things that can happen. Players can get nicked up we don't even know about. Who knows, guys? But again, Miami isn't getting better during the season. SMU victory. Notre Dame had a little bit of a problem with Boston College, 25-10. Virginia, 31-21. California, pick 6, wins the game. The Cavaliers go 5-0 in the ACC. Louisville Cardinals, 28. Virginia Tech, 16. Duke, 46-45. They go for the two-pointer. Duke wins at Clemson Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina for the first time in 45 years. Duke 46, Clemson 45. Pittsburgh, again, Pittsburgh is in the mix. 5-1 in the ACC. They haven't lost with Mason Heinzfeld, whatever his name is. True freshman quarterback. Amazing turnaround for the Panthers. Narduzzi in that coaching staff gets a lot of credit. Absolutely a lot of credit. 35-20 Pittsburgh. Wake Forest goes down big to Florida State. So let's take a look at the ACC standings. Taking a look at the ACC standings. Virginia, 5-0. Georgia Tech, 5-1. Pittsburgh 5-1, Louisville 4-1, SMU 4-1, Duke 4-1. Now, who's actually going to make the ACC championship game? Who's actually going to get there? If you look at Virginia's schedule, they've got Wake Forest at home, Virginia Tech at home, probably 2 wins, right? Probably. They're on the road at Duke. Okay? Keep that in mind. On the road at Duke. Keep that in mind. Okay? We're looking at Duke's schedule. They got UConn on the road, which is not going to affect the ACC race. Virginia at home, North Carolina on the road, Wake Forest. Wait a second here. That doesn't even make any sense. Hold on. What just happened? Yeah. Duke and Virginia. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, it does make sense. My bad. What I'm trying to say is that Virginia game, Duke, Virginia, you can almost consider that, not quite, but almost consider that an elimination game. Duke at Virginia. Not quite. But that Duke and Virginia, it's almost like they're in their own bracket. You guys know what I'm saying? It's like you've got 6 teams out there, but that Virginia Duke game, that is crazy. I think that is going to decide at least one of the 2 teams in the ACC championship game. Now, let's take a look at Georgia Tech's. So we got Virginia and Duke. They're basically in their own little bracket. And then you're taking a look at Georgia Tech. Boston College, Georgia game. It's that Pittsburgh game. Georgia Tech in Pittsburgh. But that's not all. Georgia Tech in Pittsburgh. You've also got Georgia Tech in Pittsburgh, Miami in Pittsburgh. So you've got Virginia and Duke in one bracket, and you've got the Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh, Miami in another bracket. That's how I'm looking at it. And then you bring up Louisville Cardinals. Who do they play? They play at home against California, at home against Clemson, on the road to SMU. So there's an SMU Louisville bracket. Now they've got these are going to be the Clemson game is going to be tough, even though Clemson has lost 6 ACC home games in a row or something crazy like that. So this is how I'm looking at it. I know it's confusing, but in the ACC, there's like a Duke in Virginia pocket bracket. There's a Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh bracket, and then there is Louisville and the rest of them bracket. Something like that. But anyway, so that is the ACC. If that's not confusing enough for you, let's take a look at the Big Ten. The Big Ten is next. Let's take a look at the scores first. There's a lot to be decided in the ACC. In the Big Ten, we got the Buckeyes beating Penn State 38-14, Indiana 55, Maryland 10, Michigan 21. They stay in it. The Wolverines stay in it, 21-16 over Purdue. USC 21, Nebraska 17, Illinois 35, Rutgers 13, Minnesota 23, Michigan State 0. So if you take a look at the Big Ten standings, if you're thinking about who is going to try to make the Big Ten championship game, that is kind of not quite decided, but it most likely is. But it's more of who can make the college football playoffs. Because the Big Ten race in who's going to make the Big Ten championship game is basically decided already. Now again, Indiana and Ohio State, they might have a little bit of a hiccup, especially the Buckeyes. We'll get into it in a second. Indiana 6-0, Ohio State's 5-0, Michigan 5-1, Oregon 5-1, Iowa 4-1, USC 4-1. Okay? Indiana has 3 games, and they're at Penn State, Wisconsin, and Purdue. The Penn State game might give the Hoosiers a little bit of a problem, but they should go 3-0, and Indiana looks to be going 12-0 during the regular season. If you look at the Buckeyes, again, they have the game. Michigan, UCLA, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers at Michigan. The Michigan game, if Michigan can get to the Buckeyes game, that will be a playoff. I mean, that Michigan wins that game, they're probably going to the playoffs. If you beat the number 1 Buckeyes, you are going to the playoffs. Right? So, Buckeyes have a really good chance, obviously, to go 12-0. They're the number 1 team in the nation. But so Indiana, Ohio State, probably Big Ten championship, probably both teams getting a first round bye in the playoffs. Michigan has 1 shot. They've already got 2 losses. Northwestern, Maryland on the road. They should be victories. They struggled against Purdue. And then they've got this Ohio State game. So the Michigan Wolverines can basically consider this a playoff game. If they lose, like everybody expects, okay. But if they win, Michigan will most likely be the number 4 team in the Big Ten to make the playoffs. So we've gone through Indiana, Ohio State, and Michigan, right? Indiana is basically a lock to get to the playoffs. The Buckeyes a lock to get to the playoffs. Both of them prohibitive favorites to make it to the Big Ten championship. Michigan's 1 shot is to beat the Buckeyes. Oregon Ducks. Now, Oregon Ducks, the last 4 games, Iowa, Minnesota, USC, Washington, the combined record of these 4 teams are 24-8. But I believe that Oregon can probably slip up 1 time and still make the playoffs as a 10-2 team. It's going to be close, but they probably will sneak in, but it's not completely, it's not a 100% type of thing. Okay? 24-8 are the combined record of the 4 opponents that Oregon has left on the schedule. And then you've got the Iowa Hawkeyes. And the Iowa Hawkeyes are playing their playoff game this coming up week. Oregon, USC. Now, if the Hawkeyes beat Oregon at home, if they go to Southern California in the Coliseum and beat USC, beat Michigan State, beat Nebraska, Iowa's got a shot at get to the playoffs. They do. A real good shot to get to the playoffs. All right? So that Iowa-Oregon game is a playoff game for Iowa. And then we'll take a look at one more team, USC Trojans. Again, outside shot to get to the playoffs. Northwestern, Iowa, Oregon, UCLA. So if Iowa So this is how I'm looking at it. This is how I'm looking at it. Indiana and Ohio State are into the playoffs. Michigan has got one shot to get to the playoffs. They got to win all their 3 games. They got to beat Ohio State at Ohio. That's probably not going to happen. And then you've got Oregon, who can probably slip up one time and make the playoffs. So Oregon is probably the 3rd playoff team from the Big Ten. But if Iowa or Wisconsin or Michigan win the rest of the games, they're probably going to make the playoffs. So the Big Ten, there's an outside chance that the Big Ten gets 4 teams in the playoffs, believe it or not. Most likely, it's going to be 3. Most likely, it's going to be Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon. Whoever beats Oregon, if somebody beats Oregon, USC or Iowa, they're going to have to win the other games as well. That's how I look at it. Okay, now let's take a look. We are going to get to your phone calls. I know I've been babbling. We had a lot to cover in our Aftermath show. Lots to cover in our Aftermath show. We've gone through the ACC. We've gone through the Big Ten. Now let's take a look at the Big 12. The Big 12 is actually a little bit more clear. Texas Tech wins big on the road. Utah wins big at home. West Virginia cuts the legs out of the Houston Cougars. That has cleared things up. Baylor, 30. UCF, 3. Arizona State, 24. Iowa State, 19. Kansas, 38. Oklahoma State, 21. Arizona, 52. Colorado, 17. The Big 12 is actually becoming more clear. Let's take a look at the Big 12 standings. BYU, Texas Tech. Now, the next highest rated team is Utah. Okay? They're 4-2, 7-2 overall. They lost to the Red Raiders and the BYU. So we're going to, just to make it more simple, I think it's going to be BYU. I don't think Utah is going to make the Big 12 championship. They're not mathematically eliminated yet, but it is going to be, I don't think they're getting there. Right? But Utah maybe possibly getting a large bid. Let's take a look at the Utah's rest of their schedule. Baylor, Kansas State, Kansas. They're going to be a favorite in all 3 of those games. So let's imagine for a moment that Utah wins all those 3 games and they're 10-2 at the end of the season. Let's take a look at the Cincinnati Bearcats. I don't really believe that the Bearcats now are in position to make the playoffs. They got beat bad by Utah. They just did. That was a big loss. And they've got BYU. Now, if they beat BYU, okay. If BYU loses to Texas Tech, okay. Maybe there's a chance that Cincinnati can get to the Big 12 championship game. There's a chance. They're not mathematically eliminated. They're not. But I think out of the 4 teams, BYU, Texas Tech, Cincinnati, and Utah, the 4 Big 12 teams that still has a chance to get to the playoffs, I think Cincinnati is at the bottom of the 4 teams. They're the bottom of BYU's ranked 8, Texas Tech 9, Cincinnati 25, Utah 17. I think they have the least opportunity. The Texas Tech Red Raiders only loss was at Arizona State. And of course, this is the game, BYU. They play UCF at West Virginia. West Virginia, maybe they can be an upstart. Maybe they can beat Texas Tech. Highly doubtful, but who knows? Morgantown might be a little crazy at the end of the season, but this is the big game, BYU. Texas Tech at BYU. And then we'll take a look at BYU's schedule. On the road at Texas Tech, at home against TCU, might be a little tricky game. On the road to Cincinnati, and then UCF. BYU's got the most difficult schedule left of the 4 Big 12 teams that can make the playoffs. Big game, Texas Tech, BYU. The question I have for you, is there a chance if Texas Tech beats BYU, can the and Texas Tech wins in the Big 12 championship game against BYU? Can BYU, with their resume at 2 losses, we're pretending here that BYU loses to Texas Tech and then in the championship game, can BYU still make the playoffs as an 11-2 team? That is the Big 12. It's a little bit more clear in the Big 12 than the other 4 power conferences. Let's take a look at the Southeastern Conference, and then we'll get to your phone calls. Thank you for joining us in our Aftermath show, Aftermath Week 10. Week 10. This Tuesday night, we are going to be covering the live playoff committee release of their first projections of the playoffs. We are going to be covering it. It's a pretty fun night. Georgia, 24, Florida, 20. Ole Miss, 30. South Carolina, 14. Texas is back in it. Texas, 34. Vanderbilt, 31. Oklahoma, 33. Tennessee, 27. Mississippi State, 38. Arkansas, 35. Kentucky, 10. Auburn, 3. So what does that mean in the Southeastern Conference standings? Well, the Southeastern Conference is going to get at least 4 teams in. Maybe 5 teams in. I don't think it's going to be 6 teams. Let's take a look. Texas A&M, 5-0, 8-0. Alabama, 5-0, 7-1. The Georgia Bulldogs, 5-1, 7-1. Ole Miss, 5-1, 8-1. The Longhorns, 4-1, 7-2. Oklahoma, 3-2, 7-2. Vanderbilt, 3-2, 7-2. I don't think the Tennessee Volunteers can really get back in this. We start with the Tennessee Volunteers. I just don't think they're going to get credited. I just don't see it, guys. I don't see it. They lost to Georgia, close game. They lost to Alabama, lost to Oklahoma. They still got Florida, who they never beat, and they're going to play Vanderbilt. That's going to be a tough game. I don't see Tennessee making it. Okay, so that leaves us Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Texas. You got 7 SEC teams. Vanderbilt. Let's take a look at Vanderbilt. Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee. They can win all 3 of those games. They're going to be favored in at least 2 of those. And they might be favored against Tennessee. We're going to see how Tennessee is at the end of the season. Tennessee can play spoiler. Vanderbilt. It's all about that Tennessee game. Most likely. Oklahoma, 7-2. Now, they've got Alabama. they've got Alabama, and that is at Alabama. I don't think they're surviving that. And then they got a Missouri game that's going to be mighty difficult, LSU. So I'm looking at Alabama being 9-3 at best. The Texas Longhorns. Now, Texas beat Oklahoma. They have Georgia, Arkansas, and Texas A&M. Can Oklahoma win Georgia and Texas A&M? I don't think so. That's where Texas, I mean. I don't think they're beating Alabama. So this is how I look at it. Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss. Ole Miss has got an easy schedule. I think Alabama's going to win the rest of the games. I think Texas A&M going to beat Texas. I think it's those 4 teams that are going to make the playoffs. If Texas beats Texas A&M, wins the rest of the games, they beat Texas A&M, Texas is going to be the 5th team. If Vanderbilt wins the rest of the games and beat Tennessee, Vanderbilt could be the 5th team. If Vanderbilt wins the rest of the games, Texas wins the rest of the games, then it can be 5 and 6. There could be 6 teams in the SEC playoffs. I think the chances of that are pretty slim. 4 of them are assured. A 5th team is very highly probable. 5 teams in the SEC. I don't think Oklahoma is going to make it. I don't think Tennessee is going to make it. So those are that's how I'm looking at it. Let me know how you're looking at it here. Let's get to your phone calls. Ryan Brooks, Texas has 1 or more 2 teams. Losses coming. Oklahoma could lose all 3 games. Texas and Georgia Tech both will beat Georgia. Wow. I think BYU could be a lock at 11-2. That's what Jim says. Georgia and Ole Miss are cruising in the playoffs. I think Ole Miss is basically there. Even if they lose a game, which I don't think they will, but if they lose a game, I think they're there. Cincinnati would be in the 24 playoff under the AQ model. Absolutely.
Call from
Rick.
Rick, the floor is yours. Thanks for calling, sir. I appreciate it.
Hey, I gave you a hypothetical a couple of days ago about PJ going to Auburn.
Is his name
Auburn.
already being mentioned?
Auburn just opened.
Yeah, but is his name being mentioned yet?
I don't know. I figured you'd know.
No, not yet. I don't know. I've got John Summerall as the guy for Auburn. I think
But
he's the
a
perfect
he's
fit
a
for
Kentucky
Auburn.
Wildcat, right?
Huh?
Isn't he the Kentucky Wildcat?
Well, a Kentucky job is not open yet. And
Well,
I think
that's just a
John
matter of
Summerall
time.
would take Auburn over Kentucky.
You think he'd take Auburn over his alma mater
Yep.
if it came open?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
Now, he's coached in the state of Alabama. He led Troy to 3 Sun Belt championships. I think he would take Auburn. Yeah.
Okay, I thought he was just sitting back waiting for Stoops to for that buyout to go down low enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you think Beamer's days are numbered in South Carolina?
I think he gets another year. I think he gets another year. I talk about Nebraska's offensive line. They're going to have to get a better offensive line. South Carolina has to have an offensive line next year, or Beamer ain't going to survive. The Gamecocks' offensive line has been so bad for the last decade, so they're going to have to do something.
But he's been there for 5 years.
Yep, and they just fired the offensive coordinator, who he should not have hired, Mike Shula, who was not very good in the NFL. I don't know. Shane Beamer has made mistakes. I don't think they've helped out Lenore Sellers. I don't think they have developed them. I think Beamer is going to be on the hot seat at the very beginning of the season next year in the PATC hot list week 1. How about that? But I don't think he's getting fired this year.
Okay, maybe his buyout's too big. And that brings us to Florida. Who's going to fill that thing?
I still like... I think Lane Kiffin. I think if Lane Kiffin leaves Ole Miss, I think he's going to Florida. I think LSU's going to get somebody else. Now, LSU's going to have a good shot at getting Lane Kiffin. LSU's going to have a good shot at getting anybody they want. But I got a feeling that Lane Kiffin is going to be a Gator or a Rebel next year. I think it's going to be very difficult for Lane Kiffin to leave Ole Miss if Ole Miss wins a couple playoff games or wins the whole thing, you know. But yeah, I think Ole Miss or Florida is Lane Kiffin's future.
But Florida has to have a backup plan to Lane.
Yep. And I think it might be the Washington Huskies head coach, Jed Fish. It might be Eli Drinkwitz. All these guys, agents, I think all these agents are lining up for Eli Drinkwitz, Lane Kiffin. But Jed Fish is a Florida guy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Drinkwitz is an excellent hire for Florida, because he's done a wonderful job with the Tigers.
Yep.
He'd have to move up. I don't think he'd want an SEC. I think him going to Auburn would be a lateral move. I don't see that as a move up from Missouri. Whereas Florida would be a move up, and you get all that great Florida recruiting, you know, with to fight for.
Yeah,
I'm thinking Drinkwitz is going to be right at the top of the. And then James Franklin, I mean, I guess he'd work at Auburn. He worked at Vandy.
Yeah. You would have to think that Auburn would make a call to Franklin's agents. Probably already have. So, yeah, and I think Franklin might be interested in that job.
And the CFP rankings haven't even come out yet.
That's right. All
right, thanks for taking the call.
You got it. Appreciate it.
Call from
Evo Badger, Ryan Willie is on the line. The floor is yours, sir.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet, buddy.
I believe that the UW administration is making a huge mistake by keeping Fickle around with all these job openings opening up. Plus the fact that it's hurting the UW bottom line, the athletic department bottom line, and the businesses around Madison, the Madison area, are not seeing as many people going to the bars, to the restaurants during the games. with all these, even the ones that happened after the games last night, they have to do something else. They can't keep running it back with Fickle.
Well, I think they're going to run it back with Fickle. For one more year, Ryan Willie. One more year.
And what if they announce in the offseason that they're giving him another year extension?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they need to do that.
Well, that's what they usually do automatically.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think they'll do it automatically. Let's take a look at Wisconsin's schedule next year. Notre Dame fighting Irish. Notre Dame fighting Irish, September 6th on a Sunday in Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. My goodness, Luke Fickle's going to get booed out of that stadium. You know that? That's a tough spot. Holy smokes. Western Illinois Leathernecks, the Pitt Panthers. That's going to be a tough game. They're going to have that quarterback, Mason Heinschel. At Iowa, that's going to be a tough game. Maryland at Penn State with a new coach. At Purdue, at UCLA, Michigan State, Minnesota, Rutgers, USC. A little bit of an easier schedule next year than this year. You could get 6
I don't think
wins
it's that
next
much
year.
easier. I don't think it's that much easier,
Yeah,
if at all.
yeah. Well,
I just don't understand why.
Well, you said that the major booster there is supporting the athletic director, and the athletic director is supporting Luke Fickle. So,
Right, and the major booster is like 85 years old too.
yeah.
I'm so frustrated.
Yep.
And I would like to go to Lambeau Field to see the Notre Dame Fighting Irish play but I don't want to renew my season tickets because of they're giving Fickle.
Yeah. That's going to be a tough spot for Fickle. You know, that opening game against Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is going to have their quarterback back. They're going to lose Jeremiah Love, but they're going to be stacked. They're going to still have Leonard Moore, the great secondary player. They're going to be stacked next year. I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough spot.
All right, well, that's all I had.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks.
You got it.
Bye.
Beautiful.
Call from
Christopher Hooter.
Christopher Hooter, thanks for calling. Can you hold on for a moment, please?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. We got ourselves a super chat here. Jacobra Cat super chat. Jacobra Cat, when will Wisconsin bend the knee to Big Bert Bielema, realizing only a hot guy, which Bert Bielema really is a hot guy, can restore the Alvarez era? In other words, Wisconsin brings back Bert Bielema back to Wisconsin, and he went to school at Iowa or whatever, so Jacoba Katz called him a hot guy. Minnesota, take note. Hire Iowa assistant head coach Seth Wallace. Why would we hire Seth Wallace? Why would we hire the assistant coach for Seth Wallace? What would he do at what would he do at Iowa? Would he hold a clipboard? He ain't going to be the head coach in Minnesota. I can guarantee you that. Before I get to Christopher Hooter, I just want to show everybody Again, the records here at Minnesota, a Big Ten. Here is the Big Ten Conference games records. Since 2019 until November 1st of 2025. Rutgers is at the bottom, 14 conference wins, 55 losses. Maryland, 17 wins, 47 losses. Northwestern, 21 wins, 45 losses. Nebraska, 22 wins, 46 losses. Michigan State, 24 wins, 43 losses. Purdue, 28 wins, 38 losses. Wisconsin, 31 wins, 34 losses. Illinois, 33 wins, 35 losses. Indiana, 36 wins, 31 losses. Minnesota, 38 wins, 29 losses. Penn State, 46-22. Iowa, 47-20. Michigan, 49-17. The Buckeyes, 57-7. Minnesota has the 5th best conference record in the conference since 2019. In other words, think about the return of investment, ROI, that the Gophers get versus what Nebraska gets. 22 conference wins. Minnesota, 38. All these teams spend more money than Minnesota. They all can on football. Again, just to reiterate, PJ Fleck definitely is not getting fired. The question is, there's just no way. That would be insanity. The question is PJ Fleck going to get picked up by a team that is looking for a guy who wins with less? And maybe they can give him more. In other words, a recruiting ground where there's actually high school football players within 60 miles of the university. Christopher Hooter, the floor is yours. Thank you for your patience.
Yes, sir. Okay, a few things to discuss. Let's start with replay.
Okay, all
Here
right.
we go again.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
The SEC, there are 2 controversial calls. There's and I didn't see the Texas Vandy game. I was watching the other game. But there's the supposed 2-point conversion that clearly did not look like a 2-point conversion.
And what game was this?
Texas Vandy. Vandy's making. I'm watching one of the other games, but Texas Vandy's making a push.
Yeah.
There's all the buzz about it, right? And they show the replay, and the guy seems to be short.
Yeah.
And I'm rooting for Vandy. I mean, I'm not watching, but I want Vandy to win. Well, Vandy, right? Vandy got the call. That was the wrong call.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not even hard. Okay, if replay can't get that, let's get rid of replay. Right? Well, I don't need the 4-minute delay so they can mess around and get the wrong call. Right? Just forget it. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we can save those 4 or 5 minutes, and maybe we can bring back traditional clock rules. The guy catches the ball and runs out of bounds, and I don't know, the clock stops. Right?
Yeah.
As opposed to this. Just after the 2-minute warning or 2-minute, whatever we call that thing in college football now.
Yeah.
So I have had it. Maybe it's just the SEC football because that's what I'm focused on. But every week there's something. I honestly thought the Florida kid caught the ball. And there it is. Georgia gets another call, right? Magic, right?
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, right? Yeah, they're always getting the calls, right? So this goes back decades. There's been several LSU Alabama games where LSU fans just got their hands in the air like, you got to be kidding me. There was a Patrick Peterson interception. This is going way back now. There was clearly an interception that had been the difference in the game. No. So that might have even been before replay. But whatever. If they're going to get it wrong with replay, they might as well get it wrong without replay. Okay?
Yeah.
So, and then it's so awkward how they do it. by the time he runs to the sideline and gets behind the little TV thing, we've already seen it 2 or 3 times, and the guys in the booth already have an opinion.
Yeah. Now, would you like to see them talk? Would you like to be able to hear the conversation when they're reviewing the play like they have in the ACC? I would like that for the Big Ten. I would like that for all the conferences.
I think if you're going to keep it, that's really neat. If you're going to keep it, if you're not going to reform it, I think they should take the pressure off the officials on the field and let the head office do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you don't have to waste, well, what did we do? Forget it. No, the SEC, right? You know, I mean, just kind of call it in. Nope, it was a fumble, or no, it wasn't, or and then the ball's at the 32.5, whatever.
Yeah.
I think you could really clean that up and speed the game along.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I played football in high school. I was, you know, played both ways. I'm 58 years old, so we're the same age. Well, that's right. After the LSU Clemson game, I do not know what a successful catch is. I cannot tell you if anything is a successful catch, and I don't know what a touchdown is anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Right? If the guy runs the ball across the goal line, I'm like looking, well, you know, a couple of years ago I would have called that a touchdown. I wonder what they're going to call it here. Right? And so I tell you, I've had it, and I feel so sorry for Auburn. Hugh Freeze has kind of been a victim. The guy got fired over this.
They were a victim of the officiating, no question about it. But again, this is year 3, and he's the quarterback whisperer, and the quarterback room at Auburn is a complete mess. So,
well, he probably should have won the OU game, and he could have won the Georgia game.
Yeah.
Right? And if he wins those 2, he's not fired. And you could argue that both those games came down to official calls. So I'm not sure what to do about it. I think it's clumsy how they do it. I think you could kind of speed it up. I guess that's, and then targeting. Oh, they'll just throw the flag and let replay figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's just more stalling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and don't even get me started on targeting, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. They ought to just put flags on everybody and quit hitting them. Anyway, that's my rant.
All right, man. I appreciate the rant. Rants are just fine on this show because I do a lot of them myself. Thank you, sir.
All right, go Tigers.
Appreciate the
Bye.
call. Wendy Scruggs, they flagged our quarterback, Gunnar Stockton, for a hard clap. SEC officials are known for their Georgia hate. So bad that some refs permanently suspended. Yeah, it was like an exaggerated slap or whatever. They're trying to... You saw when Gunnar Stockton went to the bench that Kirby Smart was basically trying to... It was a teachable moment there. I don't know if the refs got that wrong, but the refs have told these coaches that that they're calling the quarterback, when they're doing that type of stuff, exaggeration to try to get the defense. They're going to call the flag on the offense, and then they've told the defense if they do that sudden D-line movement, you know, where they all kind of move at once and they're trying to jerk the offensive line to be offsides, that the refs were going to throw the flags on all that stuff because they didn't want both teams trying to entice the other line to move. So, anyways, interesting stuff. Hey, now, watch out. I don't know if Franklin has the Virginia Tech job. I keep hearing that. I keep hearing that, reading that on X. But when I do poking and prodding, I'm getting no, I don't know. I don't think so. So I don't know. I don't know if there is a lot of real smoke to Franklin of Virginia Tech. Maybe there is, and I'm missing it. This is pretty interesting here. Pretty interesting here. First of all, as Expedition Greg said in the chat room, we got more breaking news on the injury front. Dallas Wilson, Florida wide receiver, is done for the season because he only played 4 games. Remember, Dallas Wilson got injured in camp right before the opener, I believe, if I remember that correctly. He only played 4 games, so he'll be able to redshirt. Dallas Wilson, true freshman receiver that a lot of people were saying in spring camp at Florida, he was sensational. Or maybe it was August camp. I don't remember. But Dallas Wilson, maybe he goes in the portal. New coach, don't know who's coming in. We'll have to check on that. I find this interesting. I want to show you guys this. The great Matt Baker from The Athletic. He wrote an article in the New York Times about Florida State. Matt Baker, I went to the Florida State game last night, half expecting a wake. What I saw was a Florida State blowout victory of Wake Forest. The $55 million question around Mike Novell and the Noles will wait another week. So he wrote a column. But this is the interesting part, in my opinion. I quoted part of a booster's email to the Florida State president in the aftermath of the Stanford loss. Here was another memorable line from that email batch. This is a booster sending an email to the Florida State president. Part of it. Sent at 12:19 a.m. during the Stanford loss. Again, booster's email, Florida State booster email to the Florida State president. It's bad enough we are stuck in the ACC because you all are okay with staying in it. So now we forced to stay up until the middle of the night to watch this stupid game. The SEC would never allow this with their teams. All right. A couple of things. One, yes. Some boosters, yes. If you reach a certain level, have the president's email. We know this because I have not seen this email. But part of our gathering of information here at Peek Around the Corner for well over a decade, the money purchase, we have seen emails from money purchase to the president as part of our information gathering. I will not deny nor confirm that we have seen any Florida State money perch. We do have our Florida State money perch here at Peek Around the Corner. We're not going to confirm nor deny that we have ever seen an email from a booster to Richard McCullough, the president, the chancellor, the president of Florida State. So first, I just wanted to say that. Yes, this happens. Once you reach a certain level, okay. Number 2, what I find interesting here. It's bad enough we are stuck in the ACC. because you, the president, maybe the chairman of the board, maybe the athletic director, because you all are okay with staying in it. I find that interesting because I don't think that's accurate. But that's not the part I find that it's not accurate. Florida State is not in the ACC because they want to be in it. Florida State is in the ACC because they don't have the opportunity to land in the SEC of the Big Ten, at least not yet. But the booster who's got an email to the president believes that's the reason why Florida State is stuck in the ACC. The booster's information is wrong. So why is the booster's information wrong? Is it because he wants to believe that Florida State would have an SEC invitation, a Big Ten invitation, if they really wanted an invitation? Or is he wrong because the leadership of Florida State has told him wrong information? I don't know. I find that interesting. Find that very interesting. I'm going to do some poking and prodding with our own Florida State Money Perch if we can get a hold of them. And well, first of all, our first question is going to be: are you the person who sent this? Is this did you talk with Matt Baker? That's going to be our first question. Interesting times ahead. Interesting times ahead. Florida State is not in the ACC for the 2026 football season because that's what they've chosen. Florida State football is in the ACC for 2026 football season because they did not have an option open to them to get out of the ACC. Not at this time. So the booster's wrong. Interesting. All right. Kenneth Maynard, thank you for the $5 holla. I appreciate it so very much. Florida State needs to focus on winning conference games, not on conference realignment. The priorities are off. Thank you, Kenneth Maynard, for the $5 holler. I think you can do both, right? I think you can do both. But I understand what you're saying, Kenneth Maynard. Thank you again for your generosity. Thank you so very much, Mr. Pirate. I appreciate it. Don Scruggs, thank you, Kenneth Maynard. I think a lot of Seminole fans would agree with you. Don Scruggs, the person in that email seems to believe that Florida State has passed on some kind of invitation. What say you? They don't have an invitation. They don't have an offer. That was a bunch of baloney that not a bunch of people, but a small segment of people trolled the Seminole fan base for a couple of years. I've had I don't know how many Seminoles that have contacted me, and my answer to them every single time was, Florida State does not have an offer. Nothing is imminent. We shall see here in the future. But Don Scruggs, thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Thank you for the comments. Al Woody, the team and the players are not focused on a realignment. I would agree with that. Larry Andrick, we won one. Congratulations to the Mountaineers. Absolutely. Congratulations. Wow. The Mountaineers defeat the Houston Cougars. Absolutely. Congratulations, Larry Andrick and the Mountaineers. How often do the AAU schools vote? It's not a. I don't believe it's like. Well, first of all, that information is never public. It's a private organization. They don't bring in new schools every year. And the number of schools that they bring in can alter quite dramatically. The last time, 5 or 6 schools came in? Usually it's just 1 or 2 schools. So the answer is we just don't know. We really don't know, Village Idiot. We do not know. Larry Andrick, thank you for the gift membership. I very much appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Mountaineer, for your generosity. A gift membership was given to Stormy Cyclone. Stormy Cyclone, Mr. Cyclone, please say thank you to Larry Andrick for his generosity. Yeah, there, he already did that. Stormy Cyclone said thank you, Larry. The Mountaineer and the Cyclone, two Big 12 foes looking at each other, thanking each other, being part of the PATC family. Both of you are knighted cloak and dagger. Cloak and dagger. Thank you, Stormy Cyclone, for saying thank you to Larry. Thank you, Larry, for your generosity. I very much appreciate it. All right, guys. Oregon State defeated Washington State, but they play again, don't they? Don't they still play again? They played twice this season. And I think that was the first time they played. I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong. Thank you. Hey, Jose, congratulations to the USC road win in the Big Ten. Big win for Lincoln Riley and the USC Trojans. So congratulations. That is a beautiful running game to watch. Beautiful running game. You know, USC's down to their third. They lost their top 2 running backs, and they've got their third running back, King Miller. He's really good. The Gophers are down to their third running back, and he's not King Miller. So I guess that's just the way it is. Yeah, they played twice. And I think they've only played once, Ryan Brooks. I think they play again. Anyways, I want to thank all of you for joining us. I very much appreciate it. Aftermath of Week 10. Hugh Freeze is fired. The Hoosiers are unmovable. The Buckeyes are unbeatable. And the Rebels, the Ole Miss Rebels, are relentless. I want to thank Ryan Willie, Kenneth Maynard, Jacoba Cat, Christopher Hooter, Expedition Greg, and Larry Andrick for your generosity, for your donations to help us keep the lights on and grow the channel. I want to thank the people who called this show, the phone calls, make it all work. Thank you, Jose. I appreciate it. The Architect, thank you so very much. Dante's Infernal Purgatory, Kenneth Maynard, James Madison to the American. That could very well happen. It very well could happen. Thank you, Kenneth Maynard, for all that you did for us today. Until next time, which is going to be tomorrow, Monday. A lot of speculation on the coaching carousel. There's already been some reports that I haven't gone through. I will do that on Monday or Tuesday of this week. We go into week 11. And Tuesday night, man, that's going to be a big night. Join us on Tuesday night as we cover live the first release of the college football playoff selection, the projections of the 12-team playoffs. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to open up the lines. You can agree. You can disagree. You can go on your rant. Why wasn't my team in the 12-team projections for the college football selection committee? We're going to have open phone lines. Join us Tuesday night. Join us the whole week. Subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button. Get those notifications wide open, because a college football is peek around the corner. We can come live at any time, morning, afternoon, or night, covering everything, all the breaking news in college football. So until next time, from all of us at PATC, to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. And as always, God, family, Golden Gophers.